So on Sunday, Maendeleo Chap and the leadership of Alfred Mutua met and they were discussing why they need to be in the Azimio One Kenya Alliance. And it goes again with the conversation that had happened earlier in the week. Some members of the Azimio One Kenya Alliance coming to say, we signed a deal. And then after signing a deal, we saw that there's a real deal and then there's a formation of some structures. This is not what we understood to be the structure of Azimio One Kenya Alliance. We need to be included in this in the national structure. Conversations take place. As Alfred Mutua is speaking, he receives a call. It says, "Hoyo ni baba, let me go." Meetings take place. Later, he addresses the media and also the party and says, "You know what? We have reached some level of understanding and agreement, and for that reason, I'd also like to, put myself and say I should be considered as running mate for Raila Odinga." We'll have a conversation about that, but first let's welcome Rita into the studio. Karibu sana to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Thank you.
That is called the hot seat. So what we are going to do is just have a heated conversation when it comes to politics. Of course, you're a politician and we are not. So we like putting politicians right where you are seated right now. So first, let's get to know who Rita is. In addition to being a board member of Maendeleo Chap, you are also a woman rep aspirant for Machakos. And before all these things, what else are you?
My name is Rita Dungu, Ndunda. I have a common name for politics. The people from Machakos, they call me Kana Rita. I am a Christian and a mother of two. I am born in Machakos County, Machakos constituency, Kola Ward, Katanga Village. There earlier on, I schooled in Katanga Primary School. I also joined Mbuani Secondary School. I did my first diploma in Kenyatta University, and then I also did my first degree in the University of Nairobi, did my master's in Egerton University, and I'm awaiting for my PhD from Kenyatta University. I worked with the National Social Security Fund from 1996 to 2017 when I resigned to vie for Machakos Women Rep in Machakos County. I want to say this, I am contesting for Machakos Women Rep this year, 2022.
So you're a politician. You've basically decided to quit public service, working for NSSF, to go into politics, to seek positions of leadership. Now you are a board member of Maendeleo Chap. What's a board member? What does a board member do?
Being a board member in Maendeleo Chap, I am one of the members in the entire board. Maendeleo Chap has got a structure of its party. That is, we have the chairman, we have the secretary general, we have board members, and we have members. So I am one of the board members.
So this is like in the other parties, National Executive Council or Committee? Or...
Like any other party.
Yeah.
Yes, like any other party.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, we've seen a lot of, conversations in the country about, so is Maendeleo Chap signing to join Azimio? Is Maendeleo Chap not in Azimio? Does Maendeleo Chap understand what it has signed for in Azimio? Are you in Azimio or are you not? As a party?
Let me say, it has already been confirmed that being in Maendeleo Chap and vying for Machakos Women Rep, Maendeleo Chap is among the smaller parties in Kenya. And being among the smaller parties in Kenya, they have signed a coalition to be in Azimio. So we are in Azimio.
Okay.
And I think you saw Dr. Alfred Mutua making announcements on Sunday that the smaller parties have gotten some space in Azimio, and they have been considered to field candidates all over.
So that was the bone of contention, whether they would be allowed to field candidates as individual parties or whether you'd have to reach into consensus in some areas where, I mean, this area is probably an ODM strong zone, so allow ODM. This one is a wiper area, so allow wiper. And now you have the leeway to field candidates everywhere.
Actually, let me say that the entire scenario was about was all about space for the smaller parties to field their candidates in the entire country. But you see, I think the Oka team was they are not comfortable. They were not comfortable with the smaller parties fielding candidates.
Why?
I think it's the fear of competition. Yes, that is according to me. You find that the Oka team, that is it consists of the major parties like Wiper. We have KANU. We have the other party there. So you find that, for example, a case study is in Ukambani, a case study of Ukambani. You find that the Ukambani is dominated by Wiper, and maybe the Oka team fears that if Maendeleo Chapchap fields candidates, they will give competition to their candidates.
Has that been a situation before? Because when I think of politics, this is all we're talking about, it's competition. So it doesn't really matter that would be the perceived view, that if you're coming into a political game, that it is about competition. Doesn't matter whether you're small or big, but has Maendeleo Chapchap previously presented any kind of threat that would make them uncomfortable with this situation?
I think the bond of contention here is all about fielding candidates. And you find that Maendeleo Chapchap is not only the one of the smaller parties, but we have also other parties in Ukambani, like, for example, CCU. We have PTP. We have other parties. We have Muungano. We have Muungano. We have NAC. And others.
And UDA, the chairman is from Ukambani.
Let me say that among the parties who have come together to join Azimio, I have just mentioned a few. Like, for example, we have Dr. Alfred Mutua, who is the party leader for Maendeleo Chapchap. We have Ngilu, who is the party leader for NAC. We have Kibuda Kibwana, who is the party leader for Muungano. I think, to me, it is prudent for all those parties, smaller parties, to be given space in the coalition, in the Azimio coalition, so that they can field their own candidates. Because I believe that the mwananchi ndiye akona haki ya kuchagua mwenye anataka.
Yes. True. Let me ask you this question, madam. You say space.
Yes.
Okay. Do I understand you to mean that there had been some discussion or some perception that everybody had to vie under an Azimio ticket, and that is what you didn't want, and you preferred to run under, or your candidates wanted to run under the Maendeleo Chapchap banner?
What I can understand is that we cannot fit in one party, and for us, for other candidates to be accommodated well, for them to be in the ballot box, they needed to be accommodated in these smaller parties. And I understand that Maendeleo Chapchap, there has been some, I don't know, it has not been clear. We saw that there was some mvurutano kwa hizi vyama, ni mara smaller parties hazitakubaliwa kuwa kwa Azimio, mara wanatisha kwenda to the other side of the Kenya Kwanza.
Yes.
So I think everyone has seen that kumekuwa mvutano kidogo wa parties.
But isn't this normal in politics, really? I mean, this mvutano, it's what we call in other spheres negotiation.
Yeah, I understand that is a normal procedure, but this time round it has been it has not been easy.
It's been a little hot.
Yeah, it's very hot.
But why? Why is it more difficult this time than it has been in other times?
Azimio, we have seen many formations and coalitions, many parties coming together so that they can come together to Azimio for the success of Raila Odinga. Yes, being the presidential candidate. Actually, what I understand is that the main goal for these coalitions is to make Raila Odinga the president. Yes, coming together as a team.
So please go ahead.
So are there losses that the parties are making because they've come together with this one goal of making Raila Odinga president as a coalition? Do you feel then that the smaller parties are losing out on something?
For example, when these smaller parties are kicked out and they are not given their space in Azimio, actually it is a minus to the success for the success of Raila Odinga. Yes.
You know, when you say smaller parties, let me just understand. Is it smaller in terms of the number of members you have? Is it? Let me just ask. How do you determine that a party is small? What are the indicators of a small party?
Okay, let me say that, for example, let me get a case study of two parties.
Yes, please.
We have Wiper. And Wiper, actually, Maendeleo Chap came up the other day. And the formation of Wiper was formed many years ago. And actually, let me say that in terms of having members of parliament, it has got more members of parliament than the Maendeleo Chap. It has got more MCS than Maendeleo Chap. Though Maendeleo Chap has got the MPs, it has got the MCS all over, but you find that in Ukambani region, Wiper has dominated a lot. Though Maendeleo Chap is coming up very well. Like in the last election, 2017, Maendeleo Chap had about more than 6 MCS.
So in the 3 counties or across the country?
In Ukambani, in Machakos, actually in Machakos. And if you look at in the lower eastern, it had more than that.
You know, in political competition, from what we read and hear and we are told,
yes,
your bargaining power is determined by what it is you bring to the table. So you've defined a small party for us.
Yes.
So what a small party of necessity brings is small. So beyond the space that you ought to be given, because coalitions around the world, people actually do compete with the banner of their own parties. The coalition is an understanding that I am in this party and you're in this party, but we agree to work together. Now, let's say, for instance, you have now joined Azimio, okay? You're part and parcel of Azimio. What benefit do you think you will derive from joining Azimio? Because there has to be something that you're going to gain as Maendeleo Chap.
Let me say that as a party, speaking on behalf of Maendeleo Chap, I would like to say that the way I have seen myself vying for Machakos women rep, and I have determination that I'm going to get the seat. For example, if Maendeleo Chap gets is fighting to get most of the seats in Ukambani, actually they are competing. Wiper has got equal. Maendeleo Chap imesimamisha governor, imesimamisha senator, imesimamisha women rep, MPs, and MCS as in the equal capacity as Wiper, and in the equal capacity as another smaller party, for example, CCU in Ukambani. Let me talk of Maendeleo Chap. For example, if we get more MCS in Ukambani and more MPs in Ukambani, or we happen to get the women rep or the gubernatorial position or senatorial position, we'll have a more bargaining power in parliament.
Yes, you will.
Yes. And we'll be able to fight for resources, we'll be able to legislate bills in parliament, and a total representation of Maendeleo Chap.
So why did that you think a couple of years ago, when Wiper was still ODMK, it had a stronghold of Ukambani? But then since then, we have seen the emergence and the strengthening of NAC. We have seen the emergence of Muungano. We've seen the emergence of CCU and all the other parties that you're talking about, Maendeleo, Chap included. Why are we seeing so many new political parties coming up in Ukambani, a region that was traditionally an ODMK Wiper region? Why?
Let me say that there earlier on, a Wiper was rated high as compared to now. If you take a scenario of today, you find that if you do a comparison of those aspirants vying for different positions in Wiper, you find that Maendeleo Chap is also faring the same aspirants with a high capacity. Like myself, we have in Wiper, we have a women rep candidate. And I'm in Maendeleo Chap. I was in Wiper, but I saw that I did not, perhaps I could not be considered. If I go for a nomination, I was not to be considered, to be given a ticket. I ran away to Maendeleo Chap because I...
Considered by who? By the members of Wiper?
By the Wiper party.
Yeah,
Yes.
The party is the members, or is it the owner?
No, the Wiper party. Let me say the Wiper process. Maybe it was not to be in favor of myself.
So the leadership of Wiper.
The leadership of Wiper. Because you know that when you go for Muchunjo, sometimes it's very hot. And I found that I was not perhaps to be favored. I ran away to Maendeleo Chap where I am sure that I will be given a direct ticket. And with my capacity and vile ground hiko pale kwa ground, nitangangana nipate hii kiti niletee Maendeleo Chap. And I am here to confirm that this seat, it will come from Maendeleo Chap. And this time round, Maendeleo Chap is going to gain more seats than Wiper.
So, back to my question. Is Wiper losing its grip of Ukambani?
Let me say that it is losing its grip in Ukambani because...
And what is causing that?
It is being caused by let me say, the emergency of many parties, because people have developed this notion of it's not a must that you join Wiper. Si ile wakati Wiper ilikuwa juu, ilikuwa famous sana. We have Maendeleo Chap following Wiper like this. Like myself, I'm comfortable being in Maendeleo Chap. And I know with this, even the so-called smaller parties, you can get a seat, you can succeed in a party because mwananchi achagui chama, siku hizi mwananchi anachagua a leader.
Okay, so are you saying that now Wiper may have lost its strength in the region because there are other parties coming up, or because time has just said, over time it's become, less powerful in the area?
Does heat it expired in it?
It's,
It's aging. Let me say that Wiper has aged, and it has come a time whereby Wiper, civil ilikuwa ati you must go with the Wiper so that you win your seat.
But
the ground has shifted.
Sure, but you weren't Wiper. The only reason you left is because they were not going to give you this ticket.
Yes, I was sure. I was in Wiper, and I believed in Wiper. But I know because of the IBC rules and what the rules, I knew that I was not going to be considered to be given the ticket. Yes.
So is it Wiper that's losing its grip, or is it Kalonzo who's losing his grip in Ukambani?
Let me try not to be personal with Kalonzo because Wiper has got its own structures. And these structures are managed by human beings. And sometimes these processes tend to be unfair to some people.
Okay.
Yes.
Is Kalonzo still the supremo of Ukambani politics?
To me, let me say that, yes, Kalonzo stands to be our leader in Ukambani. But there are other leaders who have come up in Ukambani, like Dr. Alfred Mutua.
Strong enough to unseat Kalonzo. Leaders strong enough to take the position, which clearly even you, who are in a new party, have acknowledged that he's still the kingpin. Are the other leaders who are coming up strong enough to unseat that position that Kalonzo holds?
Oh, let me say that people respect Kalonzo as a leader, as our leader in a Kamba community. But let me say that there are other leaders who have come up, who have got that urge, the passion to lead Ukambani. Like now you've had the other day in Dr. Mutua threw himself to be the running mate of Raila Odinga. I think that he has got that passion. Yes, but still Kalonzo is a leader to our Kamba community.
By making that move, is Dr. Alfred Mutua trying to dislodge Kalonzo as the leader of the Ukambani region?
No, Dr. Alfred Mutua, to me, from where I sit, is not trying to dislodge Kalonzo Musyoka. Is just having a passion to be a leader, to lead, to be a running mate to Raila Odinga, simply because he believes himself. He believes in himself. He also has what it takes. Yes, but he has got that passion, that dream of becoming a running mate to Raila Odinga. But I understand that it should not be taken as if he's trying to dislodge Kalonzo Musyoka. It's just a passion.
Kalonzo has been Raila's running mate twice.
Yes.
Is Dr. Alfred Mutua asking for Kalonzo's support in this bid? Or is he saying, you, Kalonzo, you don't deserve it again, let somebody else take it?
I was one of the people when he was doing the presser on Sunday.
Yeah.
And Dr. Alfred Mutua was so clear that he pleaded with Kalonzo for handshake so that they can come together. They can cease fire of fighting one another so that they can bring the Kamba community together. And for the sake of Kenyans, he only said that he can work with Kalonzo. He can work, he can be considered as a running mate for Raila Odinga, like any other person. And he also appealed for others to come in and throw themselves to this running mate position so that they can be considered.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's take a break. It's 29 minutes to 10, Kenya's biggest conversation. Our guest this hour is Rita Dungu. She is a board member of Maendeleo Chap, and she's also an aspirant for the woman rep of Machakos County. We are talking about the politics of the Azimio One Kenya Alliance. We'll look at what also the One Kenya Alliance is complaining about. They've written a letter to the Register of Political Parties complaining about this alliance. What is happening in this one? Let's take this quick break. We'll come back and continue this conversation. Also, we'll open up the phone lines for you to join in and tell us, should Alfred Mutua be given the running mate position? Raila Odinga.
This is the Situation Room.
Eric Latif Ndu Oko, CT Muga, our guest, Rita Ndunge, board member of Maendeleo Chap, and also woman rep aspirant for Machakos County. The headline in the Standard today, one of the headlines on the front page of the Standard, Row in Azimio as Kalonzo warns on changes in deal. This is a story on page 14. Trouble in Azimio as Kalonzo allies say coalition deal has been changed. Basically in a letter signed by Shakila Abdallah, who is the Wiper Secretary General, and his UDP counterpart, Bernard Wafuko. The allies of Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka claimed the coalition agreement deposited with the Register of Political Parties and Derito on the 1st of April had been changed irregularly. As a result, they want her to suspend the registration of this alliance. They say, according to the letter, original agreement had only 3 clauses: affiliated to ODM, Jubilee, One Kenya Alliance. However, they say that the amended agreement has 4. And they're wondering, 4 imetoka wapi?
Who's the 4th?
That's the other thing. Who's the 4th? But remember, this is after what we are being told by Ms. Ndunge, that Maendeleo Chap had a conversation, and their leader had a conversation with the principals of One Kenya Alliance, and Azimio One Kenya. And then on Sunday, they had this briefing. We have been included. The other objection that the One Kenya Alliance people have is they're alleging that the Azimio Coalition Council, which is the highest decision-making organ of the Azimio One Kenya Alliance, has been irregularly expanded from 7 to 11 members to take care of the interest of the newly added caucus. They are also questioning whether the coalition's running mate candidate would also serve as a deputy party leader of this coalition party, as required by law. So there are very many issues. Now, the question that I want to ask you, Rita, the first time that your chairman, your party leader, went to sign the coalition agreement to join the Azimio, had he read the coalition agreement?
Let me say this. The party leader, Dr. Alfred Mutua, is the only person who can explain what happened, whether what was in that document.
Okay, let me
and
rephrase the
whether-
question.
Yes.
By the time the party leader is going to append his signature on behalf of Maendeleo Chapchap, has the top decision-making organ of the party, which is
The board.
the board, sanctioned this? Had you seen the contents of what he's going to sign as the top decision-making organ of Maendeleo Chapchap?
Let me say that Dr. Alfred Mutua, being the party leader of the Maendeleo Chapchap, he understands better because he represents us up there. He understands better.
So he had not discussed it with the organs of the party.
He had discussed with the organs of the party, but what happened there, he knows better. I think he can explain better.
Okay.
As members of the board.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, okay, I wanted to ask, follow up with that and say, so the first time we saw them at KICC, all seated, the party leaders and the Secretary General signing some agreement. And then we see Maendeleo Chapchap party leader, the DAP Kenya leaders and others holding a press conference and saying, oh, we've been excluded from this political party that has just been registered. It sounds like they were not aware of what they had signed. And now they come back and say, we've had another conversation and we have now been included. And the One Kenya Alliance people are saying, no, we have not seen what has now been registered with the political party's registrar. Who's reading this? Who holds the document that is being signed by people?
Let me say that Dr. Alfred Mutua, being the party leader of Maendeleo Chapchap, we have also the Secretary General. They are the ones who play that role at that level. Yes.
You see, I think you've answered it well, because at the end of the day, you may be a board, but you do delegate some powers to the party leader.
Yes.
And what I then would ask is, when he comes back and briefs you,
Yes.
so at this point, he hasn't come back and briefed you about the details of what actually took place. Because as a board, you go, you decide, you talk, you come and say, guys, this is what we went to do, and this is what I've come back with, and this is where we are.
For
He
ratification
represents
purposes.
us at that level, and we believe in him, and we trust him as a board. Yes. So the deliberations of what happened there, he came back and told us what happened, and then we were all in agreement.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
May I ask, on Sunday, when the party leader now called the leadership of the party and said, let's come together so that I can brief you and explain to you what the conversations that have been taking place in the last couple of days, what is it that he said? What did he tell the leadership of Maendeleo Chapchap?
On his press brief, he told us that they had those in the earlier on the days they had come together, talked about the inclusivity of smaller parties, and maybe what they required to be done, and I think the main issue was all about the main concern was all about zoning. And he explained to us that the smaller parties were included, they were allowed to field their candidates, and other requirements were met. And I think to his capacity as a party leader and the entire leadership was satisfied with that. Yes. And they chose to be in Azimio. And that is why he went in public and did a press conference and announced that the Maendeleo Chap is going to be part and parcel of in the coalition and in Azimio.
I almost hear you saying, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Rita,
Yes.
is that what the party leader says and brings to the board and the members is basically what you will go along with. And that if there is any dissent or refusal or disagreement, that would not be brought to the fore. That what the party leader says will be done, or the direction that you're going to take is what everybody will follow. Is that the case?
No, that is not the case. As a board, we sit together, we deliberate the points, we deliberate our needs, and then the party leader and the secretary general and other people who are positioned at that level, they know their work, they go and represent us there. We cannot, all of us as a board, go and present our needs.
Sure. But can you comfortably say right now that as a board and as members of the party, that you are aware of what has transpired at the level where the party is negotiating with the coalition, or what has been agreed there? Are you all aware of what has happened and all right with it and ready to abide by it?
What I have said that Dr. Alfred Mutua, being the party leader of Maendeleo Chap, and other members like the Secretary General and other people, we had a deliberation on this issue of smaller parties being included in a Azimio coalition.
Okay.
And when we agreed on that, they went there and represented us. And because as a board, we trust him and we believe in him, he came and presented back what was there. And he was satisfied, and we were also satisfied. Yes.
Okay.
Do you feel it's fair for the One Kenya Alliance to complain about the inclusion of these other smaller parties in the top decision-making organ of the Azimio One Kenya Alliance Party, also in being recognized as members of this coalition?
Come again.
Are they being fair?
Let me say that the Oka team, actually, to me, according to me, they are not doing it in good faith. By refusing or maybe not wanting the smaller parties to be included in Azimio. They should play the role of inclusivity. Smaller parties being involved in Azimio, it is a way of strengthening the coalition. And I know that the importance of bringing the coalitions together, the smaller parties and the other parties, they bring the coalitions together. Is the main goal is to make Raila win. And by neglecting the smaller parties, it's not actually a good direction, because the smaller parties might think of pulling to the other side, and it is a minus actually to the success of Raila Odinga.
If you were to look at, say, Ukambani, the region, what would you say Maendeleo Chap has as a command base? Meaning, if you were to talk about, say, votes, what percentage of the votes in Ukambani would you say Maendeleo Chap commands?
As I have said, in terms of fielding candidates, Maendeleo Chap has fielded many candidates in different levels, starting from MCS in the 40 wards in Machakos County, for example. It has fielded 40 aspirants, MPs, the same, women rep, senator, and governor.
Let me ask it differently.
And if you look at, it's not only in Machakos, Makueni, Kitui.
In Cumberland.
In Cumberland, in the lower eastern.
Let me ask a different question then, in lower eastern. Okay?
Yes.
How many MCS currently does Maendeleo Chap have? How many MPs? How many elected leaders do they actually have?
It has quite a good number, but for now, I am not sure of.
The reason why I'm asking the question.
Yes.
You had said, was it 17 that you said in Machakos? In the Machakos County Assembly, I think you'd mentioned a number.
I think Machakos County, there are more than 6.
Okay.
Yes.
The reason why I ask,
Machakos County.
Just Machakos
We
County.
have Makueni and we also have Kitui.
Kitui.
So there are more than 10.
So,
Yes.
in political competition,
Yes.
again, I had mentioned earlier that numbers play a very crucial role.
Yes.
So even as people bargain, because whether we're talking of, it doesn't matter which configuration, which party you're speaking of. At some level, they all want the same thing. They all want to have a nice, huge slice of this Azimio pie.
Yes.
But what's going to guarantee, and why I'm asking about the representation, elected MPs are a representation of the numbers.
Yes.
Because if you have, say, one governor in a county, it is easy to compute and say, how many votes does this governor have? So this governor, at least you can say he has this amount of influence. So even as the discussions take place, and this is just political competition.
Yes.
If in this election, Maendeleo Chap get more votes than they did before and they have more representation in all the 3 counties, then definitely they will stop being a small party.
It will be the talk of the day.
Okay.
Yes. And we are heading to that level.
We are heading to that level.
Maendeleo Chap is heading to that level. This time
They
round,
are hoping to get there.
Yes. This time round, Maendeleo Chap has recruited the top cream of aspirants in all levels.
Okay.
And we are hoping that we are going to scoop the highest number in Ukambani.
You know, one of the things that I have always loved about political competition is the confidence with which everyone speaks. You talk about, someone comes, whatever position they're in, they speak as though they're guaranteed to get. And that is a good thing, because if you're not that convinced, how else are you going to convince other people?
Like,
to
for
vote
example,
for you?
the women rep seat, I am sure I am going to be the winner. I am going to bring this seat to Maendeleo Chap.
You're positively confident.
Positively confident.
How so? Why so?
Simply because I believe in myself. In 2017, I also vied for the same seat, women rep. I garnered over 70,000 votes. Being an independent candidate.
70,000 is a lot of people.
Yes. And that time I didn't have a party. Now I have a party. I'm in Maendeleo Chap. It has structures, right from up to the grassroots level. I believe those people are going to support me. And I believe the incumbent who is there, I have got enough capacity. I have done a lot of things to our women empowerment. I have empowered widows. I am a widow. I have an initiative called Mashinani Initiative, which has been helping the widows, our women, the physically challenged people, the orphans, and elderly, that is both men and women. And I believe that I've done enough projects in Ukambani. I am young and energetic. I traverse from one sub-county to another. I have made sure that I have gone to each and every village, marketing myself. And I think and I believe in God that I am going to be the next
You'll
women
emerge
rep
victorious.
in Machakos County.
We have a call on the line, and this is George in Nyeri. We're talking about this whole issue of the Azimio, One Kenya Alliance, and how many stools it has, how many members it has at the national level. George, good morning.
Good morning, Eric, Ndunge, and City as our guest.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I'll start with what City starts with every hour, and it's our political proverb of the day. Kila mwambagoma uvuta kwake. Yeah, you see now we are in a political period, and everybody needs to position themselves with their party on the right position, not for necessarily 2022 because this one is gone, but for the coming election, that is 2027, 2032, and all that. And for MCC, the party leader has a better position of being our next president in the coming years. It's evident. He has done it. He has been there. He knows how to run things. And definitely he is now mastering the art of Kalonzo Musyoka of maneuvering in between people and eventually emerging as the winner. So all these we are hearing, vitu kiangaliwe, kama vidogo viangaliwe. It's all about positioning themselves. So when time comes, we'll say na tulisimama na fulani, so it's your turn, rudisheni mkono. So it's all about strategies. It's nothing big. Hakuna vita ati kubwa pale. Everybody is trying to play safe on their side for the coming years.
Who do you think will emerge victorious here in that battle?
It's tricky. It's tricky because now we have every corner we have.
We lost George. Anyway, he says what we are seeing here is just jostling. It's politics.
It's normal.
It's what is being played. It's negotiation. It's the art of bargaining. Do you agree, Rita?
Oh, yes. Let me say that, and let me congratulate our party leader, Dr. Alfred Mutua, for offering himself to be considered as a running mate for Raila Odinga. I believe that Mutua believes in himself. He has got that passion to be a leader, not only in Ukambani, but also in the entire country. Mutua has those charismatic characters. He's likable. He's a mover. He's a crowd mover. He's also young and at his prime age of being prepared for future presidency. Mutua is a peacemaker. You saw him requesting for handshake from Kalonzo Musyoka. Actually, that was a great move. He bowed down. He knows Kalonzo Musyoka is a leader in Ukambani and is an upcoming leader, and he feels that he meets the same qualities of being a leader. For example, leadership is about succession. Assuming that Kalonzo Musyoka is given the deputy president, and Kalonzo and Dr. Alfred Mutua has also offered himself to be a running mate of Raila Odinga. It's not a must that they be considered, both of them. But as Kamba community, we are proud that one of our own has reached to that level. Tuko na Kalonzo Musyoka ako hapo to be considered as a deputy president.
Alfred Mutua.
We are also feeling that Dr. Alfred Mutua has thrown himself in the same race. We are proud that we have two campers and others are coming up. Ngilu is there. Kibuda is there. They are all watching. It's a way of bargaining. Let me say it's a way of bargaining, looking for some space. Another thing that I know Mutua has got what it takes is a result-oriented person. He has been a governor for 2 terms. And being that, he's brave and outgoing. And if he feels that he can meet the threshold, he meets the threshold, he can be considered
Nothing
like
wrong
another.
with presenting himself.
And it's not a crime.
We completely
It's not a
agree with
crime for him to contest as a DP.
We
Yes.
completely agree with you. And actually,
Yes.
yeah, like you said.
And
it's
Kenyans
actually
are hearing.
It's a moment of pride for the people of Lower Eastern when you have
Yes.
people of that caliber. Thank you very much.
Na
Rita,
si
for
ati
joining
anadharau
us.
Kalonzo Musyoka. Na tunaomba kwa haraka sana hiyo handshake ikuje.
Rita, thank you for joining us today.